people, it's Nora here, also known as the Leca Queen on Instagram. Welcome to my channel where we talk about all things indoor plants. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I have a few plant chores that I've been putting off for a while now that I just need to get on with and do, and I thought you might like to join me as I do that. So today I actually went to our local store here called Bunnings and I found some really interesting plants. So I got this little orchid, look at that, for $1. It was on the clearance rack and I thought, hey, I don't have any orchids, and for $1, I mean, I just had to give that a go. So what I need to do with this is take it out of the soil, because it's living in soil at the moment, and you know I don't really do soil. Take that soil off and get it going in a semi-hydro setup, so I'll be doing that. I also found a Philodendron Micans. Look at that Philodendron Micans. This was initially $13.83 and was put down to $5. Clearance again. I had a Philodendron Micans ages and ages ago. I got it and it was really expensive when I got it as well. Listen here guys, you just need to wait. A little bit of patience. Someone else will get that plant and it will be so much cheaper. So anyway, that first one that I got, I promptly killed because that was really at the start of my plant journey. I'm hoping that I've learned a lot more, and hence I got this $5 bargain one. So with this one, I will take it out of the soil and chop and prop, because I obviously would want to put this Micans up on a pole because it is a climbing plant, and you know I love my moss poles, so that will go up on a pole. But I also like to multi-plant my moss poles, so not just have one plant rooted, but at least 3 or 4 vines. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to chop it up, propagate, get roots going on each of these. Like maybe I'll make about 4 or 5 cuttings from this, and then when those roots are established, then put it up and put that up on a moss pole. So we will take the soil off that. That's what we're going to do. I have this Alocasia Sinuata. Look at how gorgeous this little thing is. I got this from Barrow by Green Nursery last week. Last week, people. I've been sitting on this plant for a whole 7 days. I really need to get that soil off and get this plant into Leca. So that's what we'll be doing today. We'll get the soil off. If there are any corms, harvest the corms and put those to germinate and put that in Leca. I've got this Alocasia Bisma, also called a platinum. Look at the silvery blue hue on that leaf, and just look at the detail in that leaf. The texture is also it's just, I can't even describe it. It's a little bit like cardboard, softer than the mellow, but certainly just as glorious. It's got a new leaf coming through. I got this from Barrow by Green Nursery here in Melbourne in the Yarra Valley. If you haven't been there, I definitely recommend a drive down. Take in the wineries, take in the nursery, vino and some plants. You can't go wrong. Anyway, this plant is still living in soil. Clearly, I need to take that soil out, harvest any corms if there are any, get those to germinate, and put this lovely plant into a semi-hydroponic setup. Put it in Leca. I have also got another Alocasia. Look at those dark leaves. This is the Alocasia Infernalis. Look at how just majestic. It is just majestic, dark leaves with very captivating foliage. This is also living in soil at the moment, so the job for today is get that soil off, put it in Leca, germinate any corms. Easy. I also have here just, common good old devil's ivy golden pothos. Look at the variegation on that. I just love that yellow. It's so yellow. None of the ones I've got at the moment look like this. So I found this at Bunnings this morning, and look at that, clearance $3. I got this for $3 and I said to myself, why not? So this is also still living in soil at the moment. Oh, look at those aerial roots. Look at that one. And that one. So what I'm going to do is, obviously this plant needs to go up on a moss pole. And because I like to multi-plant, as I said before, I will be chopping this up, propagating, and once those cuttings have established water roots, I will then whack this plant into some leca and whack it up onto a moss pole so it can be glorious. Can you just imagine these leaves being bigger than my head? How amazing will that look? Come and see me again in 6 months and that will look absolutely glorious. So stick with me. So yeah, that is what we're going to do today, guys. So let's get going. So I've got my potting tarp right there, so I'm going to deposit all that dirt onto here. Honestly, a potting tarp is an absolute godsend. It's so good with cleanup. You just get that thing, go and dump all your soil where you dunk your soil, and that's it, you're done. You're not having to pick up soil everywhere, so that works really, really well. When I'm taking soil off plants, I like to wear gloves. You know, these are just simple kitchen gloves, just disposable gloves. I just find it easier so I don't get dirt in my nails. It's just easier that way. Also, I don't like dirt, so, you know. So who to start with? All right, we'll start with our Sinuata. So that's my Sinuata here. And the great thing about having plants in plastic pots is just give that a little squeeze, you know. And this plant is dry at the moment, could do with a drink, so good time to actually be doing this. So easy to see that soil off, and off it goes. It's really, really easy, and it's because it's living in a very good porous medium, as you can see. That's really nice. But I don't want that because I don't deal with soil, so that goes away. So that plant is there. Now, because it's really, really young, it doesn't have any corms yet, which is fine. So I'm oh, hang on, I lied. There's a corm. But look, every time I'm doing this, chances are I'm gonna, you know, break this corm off the mother plant, which is a shame, but what can I do? So what I will do, this actually has what is called the death plug. But the death plug doesn't bother me so much because I need to take it off anyway because the plant is going into semi-hydroponics. So just sort of gently getting that off as much as I possibly can. See how easily that's coming off because this soil is dry. Yeah. So there we go. That's what that looks like with the soil off. What I will need to do now is actually go and wash it, and using water is a much gentler way of getting the soil off, and hopefully we can keep those corms on. We've already lost one. That's really, that's really, really tiny. I don't know if it's worth even trying to germinate that one, but I will. I'll keep that to the side. And yeah, that's the Alocasia Sinuata. So that goes to the side. Next one up is the Alocasia Infernalis. Look at how dark that is. Compare that to the potting tarp. It's just a really glorious plant. So again, squeezing the pot gently, and it just comes off. So this plant, I think, has been living in this soil for a bit longer than the Sinuata because you've got a bigger leaf system, root system, I mean. So very carefully taking that off because we could have corms, remember. With Alocasias, you want to harvest those corms because each corm is potentially a new plant. So instead of just having the one plant, you could possibly have a few corms in there, and next thing you know, you've got 5 Infernalis instead of just the one. So being really, really careful and just really gently, you know, getting that off. So again, this also has the death plug, but we're just trying to get that off. Get that off. And I think that's as much as I can do without damaging the actual plant. So at this stage, it will just be down to washing it off. So I'll leave that. That's the Sinuata. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the Infernalis. We just did the Sinuata. Alright, pay attention. This is the Bisma. So same thing, squeezing the pot, and off that goes. I just love, look at that glorious soil. I mean, this is a very, very clear draining, fantastic soil from Baraboo Green. So like I said, I highly recommend going there if you haven't. Lovely little business. You know, support local business, guys. But yeah, that is, so just gently taking the big clumps of soil off the roots. Very delicate root system at the moment. It also got a death plug, but that'll come off. And there we go. And that is what that Bisma looks like before washing that off. So there, who do we go to next? Oh, I know. Let's tackle our little orchid. I need to keep the label on that because I have no idea about orchids. Like I said, this is my very, very first ever orchid. So I'll keep that just so I know what I'm dealing with. Assuming she survives, of course. But oh, that is very dry. I think that, oh, wow, I can't get that off. It's very, very dry. I might need to soak this first. It's, oh my gosh, it's so dry. Shucks, and it's living in some sort of sponge. So yeah, this will be a bit more challenging. I have to soak that and leave that to soak for a few minutes and then try and get that off. Okay, let's do our devil's ivy. Same thing, gently squeezing pot. Oh, see, this has been living in the pot a lot longer than the Alocasias, so it's got a fairly bigger root system going. Check that out. Check that. So I'm going to, again, gently taking the soil off. See how easily that comes off? It's just really, really easy. And there we go. You can see the death plug there. And that comes off just as easily. And there we go. That right there is my golden ivy. I also need to wash. Last but not least is the Micans. So that again, gentle squeeze, that's in there. Ooh, that's the Micans there. So off, because we don't want any of this soil. Off. Okay, that is the root system for that Micans. So what I'll do now, guys, is I'll take all these plants and I'll take them outside because I like to wash my plants outside. It's just easier that way, and you're less likely to get all sorts of soil clogging up your plumbing. And that's them. I'll take them outside, give them a wash, get rid of all this dirt, and I will return when they're all clean. See you in a bit. Hello, I'm back from washing my plants outside. So this is my Micans. and that's the root system with all the organic matter washed off. Like I said, I like to do it outside because then I can make sure that I can get all the dirt off. I use my hose, I use the shower attachment of my hose, I even use the jet sometimes. Yeah, be gentle with the roots, but they can take a whacking, so clean them as much as you can. The thing I love about putting plants in semi-hydroponics as well, this whole process of washing, is that you get to wash the whole plant as well. So not just the roots, just wash everything. If there's any pests there, anything, just, you know, everything just gets washed off. So yeah, that's the micans over there. That is the golden ivy. Look at that gorgeous root system there. That's them. And that is the Bisma. I was able to save one corm. One corm survived. So that's a plus. Bisma, washed off. Infernalis root system. So absolutely zero organic matter on those roots. They are ready to go into Leca. And there is the Bisma. Platinum. Bigger root system, no corms on this one. And there's that little orchid. Remember? Look at how those roots look. So all that spongy stuff I was able to get off with the shower attachment of my hose, and it's clean as. So what I'm going to do now is put the Alocasias and the orchid into pots with Leca. So to do that, I've got my pots. These are my clear pots with added ventilation. Watch one of my earlier videos that shows how I make these holes in my clear pots. That just makes it easier for the plants to breathe. And then I've got my cache pots. So these are just like food containers that I cover with tape, so light isn't going through and I don't get algae in my Leca setup. So I've got my grows pot that the plant will go in with a Leca, and that sits in the cache pot, and that has the nutrient solution. So that's my setup. And then of course you will also need some Leca. So here's some Leca. It's clean and it's been soaking in Growth Technology Clonex clone solution for at least 24 hours, and that just makes sure that my plants have a very good start and they're not getting shocked, because this process is, as you can imagine, a bit traumatic for the plant. Can you imagine you're a plant, you're just sitting in your soil, minding your own business, and here comes along Laura, whacks all the soil off and just puts you in something that you're not used to. So the GT Clonex clone solution tries to, gently get the plant from that shock state into a state where it's happy and it starts to produce Leca roots. And of course for my orchid, I've got my little pot, so that's going to be useful for that. So let's get started. I have cleaned my potting tarp and sanitized it, and we're going to put those plants in the pots. So I've got my Leca here, got my pot, and I put about a third, I fill up the pot about a third of the way, that's too much, and I will grab my Bisma, right, and I am putting that in there. So I'm spreading the roots out as much as I can, so not just plonking them in one batch. I want to give the roots some space to grow and some air to breathe. And all I do is fill that up. And that's it. So just give it a bit of a swoosh to make sure that the Leca is settling in nicely. And then I find that I need to put some more. And that is my Bisma living in Leca. I put that to the side. And do the same for the others. So I've got my plants in Leca potted up. Those are my Alocasias there. That's my Bisma, and that is the little orchid. So they will go in their cache pots, like so. And I will put Growth Technology Clonex Clone Solution in the cache pot, and that just helps the roots develop. And once the Leca roots are established, I will then switch that over to Growth Technology Foliage Focus as a maintenance nutrient. So there you go. That is my plants now living in Leca and will be in a semi-hydroponic setup. Now we got to deal with the pothos and the micans. So I am going to be chopping these up and getting them ready for propagation. So for this I need scissors. So these are scissors that have been sterilized. So I've got one scissors for the pothos and another scissors for the mican. So I'm not crossing, I'm not using one scissors for both, just in case of cross-contamination. You never know what's living anywhere. So better to be safe than sorry. So what we need to look for are the nodes. We are going to be making the cuts below the nodes. So I like the look of this as, this leaf is slightly damaged. So maybe I'll make it, so that's the node there. See, that's where the root system will come from. So I want to make a cut below that node. So I'll use these scissors and just on the diagonal below the node, just a bit further down, make that cut. So that is a cutting. Okay? And, I don't know, this one's a bit awkward. but I think I might make this one another cutting. So that's a node there, there's a node there. So I'll cut that there. So that's another cutting. This one is quite interesting because it's got these area roots here, and if you look very closely, there's the beginnings of a new leaf there. So I might chop that and see if that'll keep going. I don't know. And then, not too sure what I want to do with this. So this one's fine to keep going. It's got the root system there. So I might chop this one over here. So that gives me this 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if this works out, that's going to be 5. So that's my pothos chopped up, and I will put this in a Growth Technology Clonex Clone solution on a heat mat and give it adequate light, and hopefully within the next few weeks get a good root system going with all the other cuttings, and I'll pot that up in Leca and put it on a pole. So that's that. And then we're now going to deal with the Micans. Oh, like I said, I haven't had a very good run with the Micans. My first Micans died. So I'm hoping that I can redeem myself with this one. So I am going to chop it up. So I've got my green scissors for that. So I'll make this 1. 1. I'll make this 2. Three. And hang on. Actually, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So same thing, I am going to propagate these, and once I've got some good roots going, I will then pot them up in Leca and put them on a pole, and hopefully, 8 months from now I'll have a massive lovely Micans pole. So there you go. Thank you so much for hanging around with me, guys, and I will see you next time, because plant chores never end. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.